Hey, it's Colleen with Rope and Resellers. Here's my weekly update for what I sold on eBay and what I sold on merch for the week of October 16th through the 22nd, 2017.
Okay, so first up, I sold this Playmobil set. Playmobil, if you don't know what that is, it's these are plastic toys that actually originated in Germany. They were called Giobra, and they've been around since the 70s. I know kids, when I was growing up, had them. Anyway, they're pretty collectible. Some are better than others, but these were two sets my kids had and were done with, so I sold it for them. $39.99 is what it sold for, and they're fun to, when you take your photos, make sure you set it up so that it looks like a fun little scene, sort of like what they do on the box, because I think then people are going to want to buy it because it looks like fun. Anyway, I collected 56.41 because they paid shipping. I didn't say that I paid any money for it because it came out of my kid's closet. 22.02 in shipping and fees for a total profit of 34.39, and it took 15 months to sell. This is a DVD, another one that I picked up at that same estate sale from the item that I sold last week, and now I sold this one, so obviously they're a pretty hot commodity. Like I said, this one is more valuable because of the box, and it's also much easier for me to sell, and it's also relatively new. I think, they got a little confused and maybe bought two, and then they went into the nursing home. So be on the lookout for those. And it's the DVD VHS combo, and if it's a DVD recorder, it's worth even more. But anyway, this one sold for $149.99. They paid shipping, so $164.63. I paid $5 for this at the estate sale. They kind of cut me a deal because I said that I thought the other one was too expensive at $12. That's why it's good to get to know your estate sale pricers. People with the pricing gun, get to know them. Be nice to them. $30.56 for PayPal, eBay, and shipping fees. I suppose I should have explained that when I say fees. $129.07 was what I made total profit, and it took 10 days to sell. This is a Snowbell Patagonia jacket. It did have some issues, condition issues that I said. There's the tag. It was a women's extra large. These are really nice warm jackets, and this is probably half of what I would actually get if it didn't have this damage. I mean, this is like a $150 jacket. It's originally like a $350 jacket. So it did have some condition issues, but it was all there, and it's still totally functional and warm and not really all that worn out except for the stains, which I disclosed. So anyway, it sold for $74.39. They paid shipping, so $87.16 total collected. I paid $1 for this at my thrift store that sells stuff on Saturdays for $1. $20.80 for shipping and fees for a total profit of $65.36, and it took 8 months to sell. This was took me a while to list it. I've had it for a few months now, but when it did, I sold it for $14.99. It may have been worth more because these little figures are the old figures for Playmobil. If you go back and look at the other one that I sold, those are the newer ones. These are the older ones. So these say Giobra, or however you say that, on the bottoms of them. This also says that. So there's Playmobil, but I don't know if you can really read it. 1980 Giobra is what it. So I'm not going to. Anyway, so it was very incomplete. It did not. It was supposed to have an antenna that was busted off. It was supposed to have a bunch of other stuff here that was broken off. Part of the windows. These windows, a couple of them were busted out in the bottom. That I had to glue back together. So it was kind of a hot mess, but someone paid me $14.99. They paid shipping $23.39 is what I collected. I paid up for this, which was sort of stupid. I paid $9 for this at an estate sale. I thought the figures were going to be worth more, and they weren't. $11.52 for shipping and fees. And so I made $2.87 on that, and it only took a day. And I put it so low because I just, honestly, it was huge and I just wanted it out of here. And I figured someone could get some usage out of it. I made a couple bucks, no big deal. Moving on. Here's another fingerlings. This is Boris. I sold him for $37.19, so he was actually on sale when I sold him. I just have another one that I'm selling, so that's why it's showing the full price. $14.99 is what I paid for it. $8.52 for shipping and fees for a total profit of $13.68, and it took 2 weeks to sell. Like I said, I don't really like retail arbitrage. It's not my thing. Someone had, for this next item, someone had messaged me and asked if I would take a cashier's check, and I said yes if it's post office, and then I didn't hear back from them. And so then it sold. And you know what, honestly, I didn't look to see if it was the same person that bought it, but it sold for $23.24. I paid $1 for it at a garage sale, $5.71 for shipping and fees for a total profit of $16.53, and it took 14 months to sell. This is a High Trails backpack, and I actually bought this at a you know, when they have the storage units and everybody sells the stuff out of the storage unit. This guy was actually a reseller, so I got to talking to him and sort of palling around. It was you know, it's vintage, and I'm pretty sure he knew that I was selling it for resale. Anyway, he sold it to me for $1, but that's cool. $34.99 is what it sold for. I collected shipping on this, so $44.53 was the total amount collected. $5.71, no, $14.44 for shipping and fees on that, for a total profit of $29.09, and it took 2 months to sell. And why did I buy this? Here it is. It's a leather bottom backpack. So any leather bottom backpacks I always buy. Vintage ones, even newer ones, they always sell eventually. And this was along with, at that estate sale where I got the larger Playmobil set, this, she was like, oh, don't forget this. And I was like, well, I don't really need this. But actually, I made more money on this than I did on that Playmobil set. It was made in Hong Kong, and I think I have a picture of it. So I know it's from probably the 80s, because most of the stuff in the 80s was made in Hong Kong. It's a vintage spaceship toy. I sold it for $9.99. I just said that it cost me $1 because basically I paid $10 for all the spaceship stuff. $4.96 for shipping and fees for a total profit of $4.03, and it took 4 days to sell. So looking at my numbers, $384.77 is what everything sold for. $446.54 is what I collected and what I tell my husband, and the number that they show you on the Seller Hub, your quick number. Or if you're on your mobile phone, I noticed that too, that it also showed that number when you hit sales. $32.99 is what everything cost me. Mostly it was the fingerlings toy and the spaceship. $118.53 in shipping and fees for a total profit this week of $295.02. Not super great, but considering I only sold 8 things, that's pretty awesome. So I was sort of panicking because on Saturday I had only sold 6 things, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a horrible week. But then in the end, I sold a couple more things. It brought my total up, so it's all good. Merch is going off right now, and honestly, I have a runner, which I mean is I have one shirt that's a Halloween shirt that's really popular that I've sold. Like half these shirts are the Halloween shirts. So this is not going to last. I know it's not. But $268.65, it almost did better than eBay for a total e-commerce adventure total of $563.67.
Okay, so pretty good week overall. Actually, it was a great week. If you include merch, I would love to make that kind of money every week. That would be great. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but this was a kind of a messed up week for me in the sense that, I mean, it was a great week. The kids had 2 days off of school, the entire state of Montana. All the kids have school off on Thursday and Friday this week, so the teachers can go to conferences and do continuing education. So my kids were home. We knew we weren't going to go anywhere. We're trying to tackle the basement, and that's where my eBay closet is. And so that's what I was focusing on this weekend. And I didn't list anything. That's not true. I did list one thing, and that's part of my tip. But I didn't take photos, and I didn't really put much energy into eBay. I kind of sort of took almost a week off. My daughter had a volleyball tournament, and I went to that all day on Wednesday. I did some work at the tournament because there's some downtime, but for the most part, I didn't work very much at all last week on eBay. And that's why I do this, and I have no regrets, and the basement's starting to look better, and I'm going to have a whole carload of stuff to take to Goodwill because I'm not going to try to resell anything that isn't worth at least $20 because I have plenty to list. That's more exciting than listing my kids' old stuff. I mean, and someone else might see the value in it. Anyway, so my tip to you, and this is an experiment. It's not really a tip. So we went to the thrift store on Thursday with the kids, or Friday, and we went Halloween shopping. So that was my only focus. I wasn't really trying to pick or do anything because I hate it when I'm there for hours. So I really focused on them and trying to get the pieces and parts they needed for their costumes. But there was a Disney Store bullseye costume, and if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. And a couple years ago, I sold it for $100, so I was pretty psyched. And their costumes were half off, so I paid $2.50 for this thing. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. So I wanted to get it up as quickly as possible. It hasn't sold yet. So I didn't want to set up my whole thing with my camera. So I just decided, you know what? I've heard some people say that they use their phone and they set up just the regular, everybody has this. And they just take the pictures and then they do a quick listing and then they throw it up and then they finish it up on the computer because there's some things you can't do on the phone, like put your store categories in, and it's really hard to find out where the description is. It's great for down and dirty for someone who does part-time, but for those of us who have a store and do it on a little higher level, I don't think the phone's a really great option. But it was good to get it started and just get it listed and get the photos, and the photos are actually pretty okay. I mean, my normal camera is a Canon, and I use a tripod. This is a Rebel, and I paid a lot of money for it, and it takes beautiful pictures, especially close up. It's something that the phone just isn't there yet to do the macro, whatever, the small pictures close up. But it's also easier to use that camera for me because I can take a bunch of pictures, keep it on a tripod. It's all set up in the studio versus a phone where it's a little harder to put it on a tripod and keep it still. I had to take about 20 pictures to get about 6 that I liked. So it was a little more, to me, it was a little more labor intensive. So that is my tips. Just don't be afraid to try something new. I mean, look, how long have I been selling on this platform? 9 years, almost 10 years. And here's something that I'm willing to try to see if it would save me some time. And in some cases where I just want to throw it up really quick, I know the pictures don't matter so much and it'll probably go really fast. This might be a viable option for me just to, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I have too much stuff. It's something simple. And I don't need a mannequin or a big studio or anything. I can just lay down a sheet on the ground or whatever and take a quick picture. Then that could be a method. So anyway, I just encourage you to try different things and see if there's a faster way to list, because the more you list, the more you sell. And I'm always trying to improve my game and see if there's a better way to do things. So with that, I'd like to take a minute to thank you, my subscribers. Thank you, my watchers. I hit 500 subscribers this week. I now have more than my 16-year-old son for subscribers on YouTube. So anyway, I'm really honored. I hope that you have gotten some great information. I don't make any money doing this. Well, I haven't yet. You really don't make money on videos. What I wanted to do was kind of pay it forward because I get a lot of my information and a lot of things that I find from other sellers who share on YouTube. And the more we share, the better sellers we become, the more we can niche down and target what it is that we like to buy and what we want to sell. And it's good to know how much we're really making so that when we sit down at the table with our family or our spouses or our boyfriend, girlfriend, we know exactly how much we're making and we can make a better judgment call of whether this is something that we can do for a living, whether it's something that we just need to do on the side, and then come tax time, it just makes it a lot easier. So anyway, with that, thank you, and I hope you keep watching. We'll see you next week.